Did Mechamaru have the benefits of his heavenly restriction even after being healed by Mahito? Let's talk about it. All right, quick refresher. A heavenly restriction is something you are born with. You have absolutely no control over it. And essentially what it is some massive benefit, but in return, you have a big drawback. Kind of along the same principle as a binding vow, right? There's a give and a take with it. And in Mechamaru's case, he was born with an incredibly frail body. Like he can't even sit out in the sun. That's how weak his body is. He's just very sickly. He's missing a few of his limbs. It's not a good situation. But in return for that, he has incredibly powerful cursed energy. He's able to store up a massive amount larger than like the normal output, and he can manipulate that cursed energy over an enormous range. We're talking the entirety of Japan. So when Mahito used his idol transfiguration and changed the shape of Mechamaru's soul, granting him a healthy body, did that negate the effects of his heavenly restriction? Did he lose those boons? And the short answer is, we don't know and we'll never know because this was never directly addressed in the canon and JJK is now over. Plus, Mechamaru just didn't survive long enough, unfortunately, to give us an answer one way or the other. But in my opinion, no, Mechamaru did not lose his heavenly restriction and still has those benefits. Now, I mainly think this because I think if the opposite was true and he had lost the benefits, that it would have been made clear. I think it would have just at least gotten a line of dialogue from Mechamaru being like, okay, yeah, we got it, but now I got to be careful because I've lost my crazy benefits, right? And there's no mention of that. There's no like element of that added to the stakes and the pressure of that fight. He just seems to be completely normal. He makes no comment whatsoever. And in the absence of that, I feel like it's easier to point toward, well, he still has it. He's still the same. He just now has a body as well. He's having his cake and eating it too. And I think this is only possible because of the unique idol transfiguration ability. Like, I don't think this is something that just any Joe Schmo would be able to find a workaround for. Mechamaru is a genius, and he literally betrayed his loved ones to do this. So I think, that was a calculated decision. Now, we could take a look at the Maki situation because she has a heavenly restriction and it actually shifted its conditions based on her status, but I don't think that's a fair comparison to make to Mechamaru because Maki's whole situation revolved around Mai and the unique situation of twins in the JJK verse. So I don't think it's the same. Maki was born with her heavenly restriction, like not all the way on, right? When Mai passes on, then she becomes fully realized. And I think once we take like a fully realized Maki, you aren't going to be able to like regress her back to the weakened state if, she gets some cursed energy somehow. Like, which there's really no way to do that unless, again, we're going to use some sort of like Mahito idol transfiguration scenario. But in the same way that, Yuji can imbue cursed energy into a rock and then throw it, and Toto can swap with that rock, if somebody imbues some cursed energy into Maki, I don't think she's just going to get weaker, if that makes sense. So yeah, I still think he has the benefits, but that's just my opinion, and he could just as easily have lost them. But like I mentioned earlier, this is something we're probably never going to have a hard answer on, unless Gege answers this in an interview or the next fan book or something. But shout out to Ghostos for asking me this. And then we've got a couple more viewer questions here, starting with this one from Daniel, who is a YouTube member. So thank you so much for that and for the support, man. And just a quick reminder for my YouTube members out there, if you're also in the Discord, be sure you're connecting your YouTube account to your Discord because we got a private channel in there for the YouTube members, but you have to make that connection in order to access it. But Daniel is talking about this new JJK fan ending that somebody has been promoting. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check my latest video, this one right here. But he says maybe one benefit of it is if it's terrible, it might make people appreciate the actual ending more. And yeah, that could be one upside to it. But he says, my question, what are your predictions for the changes that this fan ending will make? And the Gojo comeback seems completely obvious, I would say, since that's where they're picking up from. I would imagine it's just going to be all of like the biggest fan theories and stuff and fan service kind of shoved into a singular ending. But I don't plan on reading it, so who knows. And then next up, we got not one, but two messages from Crimson, and they don't even have questions. So thank you so much, as always, for the support, man, and for being an excellent moderator. I appreciate you for everything you do. But like I mentioned, Crim didn't even ask any questions here. So this first one is just about the in-depth Hunter x Hunter videos, and I'm going to use this as a chance to preach to my JJK people, since this is a JJK video at heart. y'all need to pick up Hunter x Hunter. It is so good. This arc right now is so deep and intricate and compelling. I am just eating up every single page of it. So join us on that journey if you guys haven't already. It's so good. And then this other one here is about Dandadan. And since we are, well, when I'm putting this video out is late on Wednesday, which means tomorrow we have a new Dandadan episode. And we do watch parties over in the Discord, 2 of them for each episode, actually, to give the most amount of time zones a chance to come and join us. So be sure to join us for that tomorrow. Join the Discord. We have events and they will convert to your local time zone. So you'll be able to figure out when those are happening in your area. But anyways, Crimson, thank you so much, man. And you know what? I'm a dirty, filthy liar because there is a question in here that I almost forgot to address. He says, how are we going to get a Dandadan video before we get one for Frieren and JoJo's? And I do want to make a Frieren video. I just have not had the space to slot that in, but I do plan on making one about my thoughts on Season 1 at some point because I loved Frieren. Now, JoJo's Part 1 and 2, I did like slightly address in other question videos, giving like my brief thoughts on it, and I don't imagine doing anything more in-depth than that. If we do dive further into JoJo and I get more into it, then at some point I might do like a retrospective and dive back and talk about those earlier parts. But for now, I don't have too much more to say about it. Anyways, y'all, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for the support and thank you for watching.